Well, yes, Xoli, in fact, already the alliance partners have come out to say that whatever the coalition comes out as, they want people that are going to continue to respect the workers. As you would know, that a lot of workers here would be in the mine industry, and they feel retrenchment has taken a lot from the country, but also from the workers. As I step on the side, you'll see that already SACP is on the podium, and they've already explained that they're quite unhappy with with the talks. They're saying that the government of national unity is not going to take anyone anywhere. There needs to be accountability and there needs to be leadership, and they're saying that ANC must take that role of leading. But I want to bring in now Buti Manamela to speak to us, of course, about the role of ANC, and the gloves have been off. They've been very clear, the alliance has been very clear that they're unhappy with the decisions that are currently in the talks, right? And they're saying that they want ANC to take responsibility. What's the position of the ANC at this point?
Well, firstly, I think the ANC National Executive Committee took a decision that we are going to constantly engage with our alliance partners. Our SG has briefed us that they've had engagement with the Alliance Secretariat, and that those engagements will be continuous to basically take into account the views of both, of the ANC, SACP, and of SACP, COSATU, and SANCO. And we see that as an important platform for us to take along the views of the alliance partners. But secondly, I think the period where we find ourselves in is not an easy period, and it obviously needs to be engaged with caution. And I think exchanging ideas with our alliance partners is one of the important tasks that we're going to be engaged into. I think the commitment that our president made when he was closing the NEC meeting, that part of the engagement will not only be with the political parties that could potentially form a government of national unity, but also engagement with our internal alliance partners. So that has been happening, and we're quite confident that, before those who've been mandated to engage with the other political parties on a genuine platform, that the alliance partners will obviously be engaged.
And they've been clear in saying that the government that needs to take over is the one that needs to respect the workers. But at the same point, they've said that they feel like they haven't been listened to for quite some time. NUM saying it's going as far as 2016.
Well, look, there are a lot of things a lot of policies that have been introduced post-1994 whose intention is to protect the rights of workers. Those includes, the basic conditions of Employment Act, the Labor Relations Act. We've just, passed the national minimum wage. There's policies such as affirmative action and black economic empowerment, which also incorporates the rights of workers. There's issues around safety, which is a very key issue in the mining sector, and facing mine workers. Of course, not only them, but those are the fundamental policies that, we obviously would not want to, get into negotiations with. We don't think that policies that are in place already, that are meant to deal with the legacy of apartheid, that those policies should be open for negotiations. I think the focus now is to make sure that not only do we consolidate those policies to improve on the lives of workers, particularly mine workers, and to take into consideration their plight, but also to, improve the broader situation in the country. We have high unemployment rate. We have, stubborn levels of poverty with issues around, water and so on and so forth. And we think that, whichever political party, that gets into a government of national unity has to commit for us to deal with those issues. Look, the ANC may have, not won these elections with an outright majority, but the majority of South Africans, the most South Africans went out, to vote for the ANC, and which expresses, confidence in its elections manifesto and also in its policies. And I think, as we've said, we see this as a setback, But I think also one of the other things that we need to mention, which will include, workers, alliance partners, but society in general, is what the president said, that we need to urgently call, which is a national dialogue, to look at the challenges that our country face and how do we get out of that collectively. I don't think that this is the time for us to point at each other. This is the time to look at the stability of the country, to look at unity and cohesion of this country, to look at consolidating all our efforts to deal with non-racialism, non-sexism, to strengthen our democracy and democratic institutions. And I think we need all of those hands on board, and those are the principles within which the government of national unity, or whatever outcome this process of negotiations will yield.
All right, thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, of course, those conversations continuing, Xoli, just as much as the conversation that's taking place behind us with the unions, also still with the alliances and unions, still talking about their position in the new government, or however the government of national unity will work. And as well as they will continue, of course, to look at those policies that affect the workers on the ground. We know that this will continue also till tomorrow for about 2 more days before there's those resolutions. But they're expecting ministers also to come here tomorrow to also speak and talk about how the workers are affected by their work.
Nqobile Madlala live for us there at that NUM conference. It's a 3-day conference taking place in Boksburg.